What's up, guys? The Pittsburgh Steelers won Super Bowl 43 10 years ago, and they were seemingly on the path to form the next NFL dynasty. But instead, the Steelers have become quite a circus act, full of never-ending drama and star players looking for ways to get out of town. So how did the Steelers go from the NFL's next great team to quite the circus act? We're here to take a look back at what has gone wrong since they captured their 6th Super Bowl in franchise history. I'm Jason Biondo, and today we present how the Pittsburgh Steelers ruined a possible dynasty. Don't forget to subscribe to TPS and put on your notifications because we post videos every single day. Every day is a new video, so you should definitely subscribe. Why would you not? Go do it. Okay, background. The Steelers were a consistent playoff team throughout the early to mid-90s and the early 2000s. They lost the 1997 and 2001 AFC Championship games, as well as the 2002 divisional round matchup against the Tennessee Titans. Even though the Steelers had a Pro Bowl running back in Jerome Bettis and championship caliber defense, they just didn't have a quarterback that could take them to another level. So the Steelers selected Miami, Ohio quarterback Ben Roethlisberger with the 11th pick in the 2004 draft. All he did in his rookie year was help the Steelers finish an impressive 15-1 record, leading Pittsburgh to the AFC title game. Of course, they were throttled at home by Tom Brady's New England Patriots. Even though the Pats would go on to win their 3rd Super Bowl in 4 years, the Steelers at least showed that they were once again a serious challenger to the AFC throne. The Patriots would really have their work cut out for them. Behind an elite defense that only allowed 16.1 points per game, the Steelers won 11 games and nabbed a wild card berth. The underdog Steelers won 3 road games, highlighted by a divisional round win over Peyton Manning's Indianapolis Colts, and that punched their ticket to Super Bowl 40. In a sloppy, mistake-filled game highlighted by horrible officiating errors, the Steelers defeated the Seattle Seahawks 21-10. Roethlisberger won the Super Bowl as a sophomore at age 23, and the future was so bright. Roethlisberger survived a near-fatal motorcycle accident in the 2006 offseason, but the injuries hampered him in his 3rd year. The Steelers missed the playoffs, and a year later, they won the AFC North title, but lost to the Jacksonville Jaguars in the wild card round. Things lined up pretty nicely for the Steelers in 2008. They had the league's best defenses in the regular season, allowing just 13.9 points per game. The AFC was Pittsburgh's to lose that year. Tom Brady tore his ACL in Week 1 and missed the season. MVP Peyton Manning and the Colts lost in the wild card round, and the top-seeded Tennessee Titans were upset by the Baltimore Ravens in the divisional round. Ravens rookie quarterback Joe Flacco was no match for the Steelers in the AFC Championship game. Troy Polamalu's pick 6 in the waning minutes sent Pittsburgh back to the Super Bowl. They'd go on to defeat the Arizona Cardinals in what many still describe as the greatest Super Bowl ever. Santonio Holmes' tiptoe catch in the final seconds clinched Lombardi Trophy number 6 for the Steel City. And with that, Big Ben Steelers had won 2 Super Bowls in a 4-year span. Brady's Patriots hadn't won in 4 years. Roethlisberger had 2 Super Bowls by age 26. Indeed, the Steelers looked like the new NFL dynasty. Who would have thought that 10 years later, the Steelers would find a million amazing ways to botch their opportunity to form a dynasty? The Steelers would quickly learn that it's not going to be their year every year. They missed the playoffs in 2009 with a 9-7 record via a tiebreaker. A year later, they were back in the Super Bowl, narrowly falling to Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers 31-25. The Steelers won 12-4 the next year, but Tim Tebow's Denver Broncos beat them in the wild card round. 12 wins is usually enough for a first-round bye, but not in 2011. The Steelers just didn't get the bounces they needed. Pittsburgh would miss the postseason in 2012 and 13. Roethlisberger dealt with injuries, James Harrison joined the Cincinnati Bengals in the latter season, Casey Hampton and James Farrior had retired. Age caught up to key players like Troy Polamalu and Brett Keisel. The Steelers locked down playoff berths in 2014 and 15, but it only yielded 1 playoff win. However, Pittsburgh looked like they were finally breaking through in 2016. Roethlisberger, Antonio Brown, and Leveon Bell were all healthy, and it showed. The team went 11-5 and reached the AFC Championship game with a chance to finally take down the mighty Patriots and potentially put an end to the Brady-Belichick dynasty. Nope. Same old, same old. Brady torched the Steelers, and Pittsburgh's triplets couldn't get anything going. New England won 36-17 en route to their 5th Super Bowl.
No glaring weakness of the Patriots, that's for sure. It's going to take a great game by Atlanta to beat this team.
The Steelers would go one and done in 2017, winning 13 games but losing to the Jacksonville Jaguars in the divisional round. And from there, the downward spiral began. Which brings us to where we're at now, hence this video. Beginning of the end. It all started when Pro Bowl running back Leveon Bell and the Steelers were unable to hammer out a long-term contract. Apparently, Pittsburgh offered a 5-year deal worth $70 million. Bell rejected it but promised he would sign his franchise tender and be there for week 1. However, as we all know, it was a no-show. Bell played games on Twitter and hinted at joining the Steelers before the November 13 franchise tender deadline. 1 week passed.
It's been 1 week.
And then another.
Another one.
And then another.
And another one.
When it was all said and done, Bell never signed his deal and sat out the entire season. And the Steelers stood at 7-2-1 through 10 games. But it was evident that the Bell saga was plaguing the locker room, and head coach Mike Tomlin just wasn't able to keep the band together. Bell's offensive linemen wasted no time voicing their frustration with the Pro Bowl running back. David DeCastro said that Bell made them all look kind of stupid. But hey, Connor was producing just fine. Pittsburgh was 5 games above 500 and in line for a first-round bye. What could possibly go wrong in the final 6 games of the season? Well, just about everything, actually. We didn't find out until after the regular season. But as it turned out, Bell was far from the only troublemaker in the locker room. Antonio Brown, the NFL's best wide receiver, also began turning on his teammates. The Steelers would drop a sloppy, mistake-filled road game against the Denver Broncos in Week 12, with Roethlisberger throwing an interception at the goal line near the end of the game. A week later, Pittsburgh blew a 16-point home lead to the LA Chargers and lost on a last-second field goal. The Steelers then somehow lost to the Oakland Raiders in Week 14 as Chris Boswell slipped on a field goal attempt that could have forced overtime. After a huge Week 15 home win over the powerhouse Patriots, Pittsburgh seemingly regained its form, but not for long. They made too many mistakes and lost to the New Orleans Saints in Week 16, as Juju Smith-Schuster fumbled with the Steelers on the cusp of reaching field goal range to force overtime. Brown was inactive for Week 17's must-win home game against the Cincinnati Bengals. It was reported that he was dealing with a knee injury, but actually Brown was sent home during the week. Turns out he had actually played his final game in the Steel City. The Steelers took care of business against the Bengals, but they were eliminated when the rival Baltimore Ravens defeated the Cleveland Browns to win the AFC North. With that, Pittsburgh would miss the postseason for the first time in 5 years. After the game, it was revealed by multiple reporters that Brown had actually quarreled with Roethlisberger in practice. The Pittsburgh Post-Gazette reported that Brown threw a football in the direction of Big Ben and screamed, "I'm done," before storming out. He didn't return phone calls and texts from teammates, essentially sitting himself out for Week 17. We later learned that AB was unhappy with his role in Pittsburgh and requested a trade. After nixing a deal to the Buffalo Bills, Brown agreed to be sent to the Oakland Raiders for 2019 3rd and 5th round picks. With that, the Steelers' killer bees were now just a single bee. So how did this team go from potential dynasty to perhaps the best offensive trio to never winning a Super Bowl together? The coach and the quarterback. Sometimes, drama queens are going to drama queen. Even Bill Belichick could only do so much with Randy Moss, who complained and orchestrated his way out of town. Andy Reid couldn't keep Terrell Owens happy. Sometimes the player has to be blamed. But a lot of this falls on head coach Mike Tomlin, who's known for being too easygoing on his players. Steelers legend Terry Bradshaw said Tomlin is a cheerleader and not his type of coach.
He's really a great cheerleader guy. I don't know what he does, but I don't think that he's a great coach at all.
James Harrison, whose best and most productive years came under Tomlin, also blamed his former coach for the drama. Remember when Brown did a live stream after the Steelers beat the Kansas City Chiefs in the 2016 AFC divisional round, which caught Coach Tomlin smack-talking the Patriots? Yeah, the coach didn't do much to discipline his star player there. Tomlin also didn't do much to discipline Brown for skipping practice during the 2018 season. When you lack authority, people will take advantage of you. Tomlin didn't put his foot down. He let this happen. All he had to do was call guys like Bell and Brown into his office and say, "Are you in or not?" And if they were going to be selfish, he could have told the front office to move them earlier for better packages. But Tomlin didn't do that. The Steelers' ownership and front office also made matters worse by essentially telling other players that Big Ben runs the show and is free to say and do as he pleases. Roethlisberger drew the ire of many when he said he had earned the right to criticize his teammates during the regular season. GM Kevin Colbert also stirred the pot more with these comments a month before Brown was traded. Roethlisberger's the elder statesman and the Super Super Bowl winner. If our players were smart, they'd listen to him because he's been there. He's done it. He can tell them, no guys, what you're doing is or is not good enough to do this. This came a few days after Brown took to Twitter and ripped Big Ben for having an owner mentality. Alright, so there's another reason this team fell apart. Coach Tomlin wasn't a disciplinary. While ownership let Roethlisberger get a little carried away with comments to the point where it ticked off some of their star players. That's not good. Just look at Belichick, Pete Carroll, and Sean Payton. These coaches didn't condone drama, and they'll move out players who aren't all in. Tomlin went with the talent trumps attitude mentality, and it destroyed the locker room. Big Ben didn't lead or earn the same level of respect from his teammates the way guys like Tom Brady or Drew Brees do. But of course, management has to take some of the blame for the Steelers' recent downfall as well. Now, Kevin Colbert might be the NFL's best GM after Mr. Belichick. The Steelers have an incredible draft record over the years. Brown was a 6th-round pick. TJ Watt and James Conner were great finds in the 2017 class. Colbert built that stout offensive line through the draft as well. But here's the problem. The Steelers avoided blockbuster trades and big-time free agent signings. They've played it safe this whole time and only want to build through the draft. Look at some of the aggressive moves Belichick has made over the years. He picked up Corey Dillon near end of his career, and he became a big part of their Super Bowl 39 championship team. He traded for Wes Welker and Randy Moss in 2007, which led to a perfect 16-0 season and almost a Super Bowl championship. He signed Pro Bowl cornerback Darrelle Revis in 2014, which led to a Super Bowl championship. He added Martellus Bennett, Chris Long, and Chris Hogan in the 2016 offseason, which also led to a Super Bowl championship. He signed Stephen Gilmore in 2017, resulting in a Super Bowl 52 appearance and a Super Bowl 53 championship. He traded for Josh Gordon in 2018, and while he didn't finish the season with the team, he was a big part of the offense and helped them secure a first-round bye en route to Super Bowl 53. Wow, that's a lot. Oh, and remember when the Steelers got LeGarrette Blount during the 2014 season? All he did was go back to New England and help them win Super Bowl 49. Remember when the Steelers cut James Harrison in the final days of the 2017 regular season? Of course, he went to New England, dominated on defense, and almost led them to a Super Bowl title. The Steelers let a couple of key players head to Foxborough. On top of that, the front office has never countered Belichick's big moves. They've refused to spend money on quality free agents. And the Steelers haven't made any trades to acquire that final piece or two that could have completed the championship puzzle. Yes, you need to build the bulk of your team through the drafts, but sometimes you have to add the final pieces via trade or free agency. The Patriots aren't the only team to do that, of course. The 2013 Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawks wisely added pass rushing studs Cliff Avril and Michael Bennett to complement the Legion of Boom. Trading for star wideout Percy Harvin paid dividends as well. The 2015 World Championship Denver Broncos added Peyton Manning, Emmanuel Sanders, DeMarcus Ware, and TJ Ward in free agency. What have the Steelers done? Next to nothing to complement the stars they've drafted. You add it all up, and this is how the Steelers went from a potential dynasty to what could have been. Obviously, 2 Super Bowl championships in the Big Ben era is better than none. But it's been a decade now since their last Lombardi trophy, which feels like an eternity for a model organization that's been a consistent winner since the 70s. The Steelers team just doesn't have the swagger or leadership that the Super Bowl 40 and 43 championship teams had. Tomlin has let it get out of hand. Big Ben lost some support from teammates, and the front office missed out on opportunities to make the team even better. And that's why the Patriots continued their dynasty with 3 more Super Bowls over the past 5 seasons, while the Steelers continued their search for Lombardi trophy number 7. The clock is ticking on Roethlisberger's career, and who knows if Tomlin will be employed much longer should the drama continue. Consider 2019 the make-or-break year for a prideful organization that is turned into a circus. It's the last chance for the Steelers to rewrite the narrative, even if they only have one killer bee left to help them do it. Do you think the Steelers will win another Super Bowl with Ben Roethlisberger and Mike Tomlin? Join us in the comment section below. Make sure to follow myself and Total Pro Sports on social media. We post great content all the time. Great content all the time, like all the time. You should definitely do it. If you like this video, give it a like. It takes 1 click. Right down there. 1 click. Boom. Like it. Click. Already done. See? That wasn't hard. If this is your first time around TPS, make sure to subscribe because we post videos every single day. Every day's a new video. So subscribe. Go do it. Of course, thank you so much for watching. I'm Jason Biondo, and I'll see you next time.
On my knee.